So, Governor, what do you think the top priority should be for federal government officials when it comes to improving rail safety?
First of all, I think the House bill and the Senate bill are both good bills. I've endorsed both bills. More notice of what actually is contained in these cars. We had a situation where our first responders got there and, of course, did not know what the cause of the fire was, did not know what the cars were holding. So I think that's certainly very important. Second, more frequent sensors that will indicate if there is, in fact, something is too hot. Putting these closer together, whether that is 5 miles or 10 miles, but certainly closer than what we're seeing today. So those are a couple things I think that will certainly make a difference.
The House bill doesn't include any kind of mandate for a 2-person crew on these trains. Does that concern you?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this area, but my instinct is that 2 people on a train is better than 1, particularly when you consider how long these trains are today.
When it comes to the government's response for the cleanup in East Palestine, what are the biggest lessons as far as what went wrong? What do we need to improve on?
Yeah, I think the only problem we had initially, frankly, was communication with the railroad was not as good as it frankly should have been with our people. That did get ironed out relatively quickly. As far as the federal government's response, they had the U.S. EPA had people on the scene, I think, within 2 hours after the crash. So I don't have any complaints about how quickly they responded to get people on the ground.
Are you still frustrated with how long it is taking to move that contaminated soil out of East Palestine? Really, what's the solution to speed that up while doing so still in the safe manner?
I'm never satisfied, but it's just a huge operation. As of today, they've pretty much finished removing the dirt around the first line that they have lifted up, and now they've finished the excavation basically. All that dirt is not gone, it's not been transported out, but it's been removed. So it's not going to be too long until they'll be able to move over to the second line, remove those rails, and start on that track.
At the end of the day, though, as we work through how to prevent this in the future, how to make rail safer, there is a community in East Palestine and surrounding areas still dealing with this crisis. What do you want them to know, Governor?
Well, look, the people of East Palestine have gone through tremendous trauma. This has been a horrible, horrible thing for them, for the community. I visited there, I think, 6 times so far. I think what's important for them to know, and I continue to emphasize this, is we're not going away. We are there. We are going to stay there. The clinic that has been stood up is going to be expanded dramatically in the next few days. We're going to have an announcement about that. And that's going to enable people to go to that clinic for years into the future if they have concerns. It will also allow the first responders, about 300 first responders from not only East Palestine but from surrounding jurisdictions, allow them to go in and get a baseline with their health so that they can, that can be monitored as we move forward. So we're not leaving, we're there. And I guess the other thing I would say is that I think everyone recognizes there needs to be a fund established. The railroad will need to establish a very, very significant fund that will, I'm sure, in the end be monitored by a federal court. There's been a lot of lawsuits that have been filed, but the sooner that we can see that fund established, I think it will give people in the East Palestine community more assurance that for the long run, there's going to be money there for them.